Hello students, and welcome to the CompTIA Tech Plus exam course brought to you by Third Level Technology. I am your instructor, Jim Herbie. In this episode, we're going to continue in Module 6 in the exam objectives that discusses security. This episode will discuss Section 6.2, Security Best Practices. Let's begin. Social engineering are all the methods that attackers use to attempt to manipulate our staff and end users into revealing confidential information and data. There are two components of social engineering: pretexting and impersonation. Impersonation is the attacker pretending to be someone they are not. It can be a trusted person within our business, a higher up in our organization, or a third party that we would trust, like a banker or a vendor, pretending to be an other identity. Pretexting is the false story that is created, the urgent situation that the attacker places in front of the end user to create a false sense of urgency. Attackers are trying to rely on the good-natured trust of the end user to provide the requested confidential data to solve the urgent situation. Social engineering requires us to create effective employee training and verification procedures for our staff to help to prevent these situations. One common social engineering technique is phishing. Phishing is an attacker using email, text, or fake malicious websites to steal end-user information. Phishing through email will involve an attacker mimicking or impersonating a trusted user or organization, relying on the end user to download an attachment or click on a link contained within the body of the email. Phishing through text uses similar situations involving links or files to download, does so through your smartphone text messaging services. Malicious websites will be fake websites that an attacker creates that will look like a trusted website, trying to get a user to enter in a username and password so that the attacker can then go use those credentials. These are all different ways that attackers try to socially engineer our end users. One specific type is spear phishing. Spear phishing is an attacker targeting a specific individual. Most times this occurs with high-level administrators or CEOs of businesses. Device authentication is confirming our device's identity. Before allowing any device to connect to our network and access our data, we want to authenticate it. One common authentication method is through a password. The end user enters in a complex password that authenticates the device and authenticates to the network. We also use PIN numbers, PIN, personal identification numbers. These authenticate through a numerical code that is entered. Biometrics is a newer device authentication. This involves the use of physical characteristics of your human body. Fingerprints, eye scans, voice prints, facial recognition are all examples of biometrics. These are all examples of proper device authentication to reduce the risk of attackers gaining unauthorized access to our network through a device. Anti-malware is software that detects, isolates, and removes malicious programs from our network and devices. Three common malware types are viruses, spyware, and ransomware. Viruses are malicious files or programs that spread amongst users through downloading or clicking on links. Spyware is malicious programs that capture your keystrokes or your user activity online. Ransomware is attackers freezing and encrypting files on your network or device and requiring the user to pay cryptocurrency for the proper decryption keys. These are all situations that anti-malware software is designed to prevent. We should regularly update our anti-malware, antivirus software. This is allowing our software to identify any new threats that have been identified by other programs on the network. Anti-malware will use real-time scanning, identifications of new malware files or programs that have been identified so that we can isolate and remove them from the network and prevent unauthorized access. Firewalls are ways that we can control our network traffic. We create security rules that allow us to monitor and manage all of our incoming and outgoing network traffic. Firewalls can be hardware-based, standalone devices, software-based applications that are downloaded onto our devices, or a hybrid, an integration of both. We create firewall rules. This allows traffic to go in and out of our network based on criteria such as IP address, application type, keywords, and others. We can block unauthorized access and then filter it to remove it from the network. We should regularly review and update our firewall rules to ensure that we have proper security. Patching is updating software. It's allowing us to fix known bugs and vulnerabilities in a software application. Patches for software should come from trusted sources, either the developer of the software or the vendor that we purchased it from. We should patch not only our software applications, but also our operating systems. Software patches for our operating system can also be acquired from the vendor. So you could be Microsoft for Windows, Apple for Mac OS. Patching should be automated. We want our systems to allow for all of our apps to receive software updates on a regular schedule coming from trusted sources. Cable locks are ways we can physically secure our laptop devices. It helps to prevent theft. A cable lock will be thin cable of some type of sturdy metal with an attachment that you can lock, but you want to make sure that your cable lock is attached to an immovable object. This can be a desk, a heavy chair, because the cable lock will require the attacker to not only lift your computer, but also what it's attached to. USB locks will block the physical interface ports on your device. They are small locks that are inserted into the interface slots on your computer. They're very useful in high security environments and when you have workstations that are shared amongst multiple users. There are two common software types: open source and proprietary. Open source software allows users to freely view, modify, and distribute the code base. Proprietary software maintains direct control and ownership to one person, and we restrict access to the code unless an end user pays a licensing fee. Open source software is one that fosters collaboration. It allows multiple users to work together to improve the code base. One drawback is that you lack formal support. You don't have a direct vendor or a customer service resource. Proprietary software comes with that dedicated support. If you use Windows 11, Microsoft has dedicated support for that operating system. Mac OS has the same with Apple. Proprietary software will give you that one-stop shop for your support needs, and will also provide you with trusted regular updates for your software and your operating systems. If you are purchasing a proprietary license, there are three common types: subscription, one-time, and perpetual. A subscription license is one where a user gains access to a software application for an extended period of time as long as they pay a recurring fee. Normally this is on a monthly basis. As long as you are paying your monthly fee, you have access to the app and all of its updates. A one-time purchase, or an OTP license, is where the end user pays one fee one time and has access defined period with the updates and patching during that defined time. A perpetual license allows an end user indefinite use of the software as long as it is working. Once you purchase it, you get the license. When we purchase software, we verify it through product keys. Product keys are the default credential that allows us to authenticate software during the installation process. Product keys prevent piracy. It allows the vendor of the software to maintain intellectual property rights and prevent unauthorized installations. Your product keys are unique to each software license. We should store our product keys securely in the same manner we do for our user passwords. Your product key will not change, but it can be recovered if you lose it by going through your vendor or your account portal. Software validation is ensuring that the application is legitimate and untampered. We validate software through two common methods: digital signatures and checksums. Checksums are small groupings of data bits that are contained within the software that, as long as they maintain integrity through the installation, you know the software is valid because there's been no tampering. Digital signature is an electronic validation of the software vendor. Digital signatures are created through certificates and certificate authorities. your digital signature will be issued by a CA, Certificate Authority, to validate the website that a software application is downloaded from. This ensures that our software downloads come from trusted and verified sources. OEM stands for Original Equipment Manufacturer. OEM websites are those that provide officially approved drivers, firmware, and software. We can download from OEM websites to reduce the risk of installing malicious files. OEM websites are your trusted, verified sources for these types of information and data. With OEM sites, we also can download the most recent and compatible updates, devices such as storage and servers. Also can access support through documentation and online resources that are made available as well. We also can download verified software from app stores. Your app stores are the official repository for specific vendors where software applications are made available for download. Simplify the installation process by allowing end users to perform searches, go through different versions of software. If you download an application from an unofficial source, this can cause significant security risks. There can be malware embedded in the installation files, and we should never download any apps that don't come from an official or trusted source, an OEM website, an app store. We can rely on user reviews and ratings to help to assess the quality of the app and its reliability. Software removal is the process of deleting an application from our system or device. We remove software to free up disk space, as well as to reduce the risk of running old and outdated software. Any software that has been unused or dormant for an extended period of time should also be removed. These can create security vulnerabilities when old software is left unpatched. We can use built-in removal tools or download uninstallers when we want to delete software completely from our system. We should only use secure deletion features. That means using encryption when we are going through the installation process so that attackers cannot gather information while we are entering credentials that are sensitive to the process. Browser certificates are how we authenticate websites. It allows end users to ensure that the websites they are visiting are free from malware and viruses. Browser certificates are issued by CAs, Certificate Authorities, organizations whose sole duty is to issue and validate the browser certificates. Expired or untrusted certificates will create security risks. If you are using an updated browser when an untrusted certificate appears, it should send you an error warning into your browser window. Make sure that you are using an encrypted web connection, HTTPS, and that the website you are visiting is truly the one created by the vendor. Social media privacy are all the settings that allow an individual to control who sees their posts and personal information. For proper social media privacy, we use strong, complex passwords and multi-factor authentication. A strong, complex password will have the appropriate length, at least 12 characters, and complexity, which includes at least one of each of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters. MFA is multi-factor authentication. This is requiring the end user to provide 2 or more ways to verify their identity. Their password can be one, and a second can include things such as a biometric, like a fingerprint or a facial recognition, or a code generated from a software or hardware token. Messaging privacy includes your instant message and text messaging services. We want to protect these conversations from attacker interception. We do so by using end-to-end encryption. Our data is encrypted from source to destination as long as the conversation is active. If using a public network, a public Wi-Fi, we should avoid our messaging services unless we are using a VPN, a virtual private network. And lastly, AI privacy. This is how we can control how our data is collected and used by artificial intelligence systems. AI systems like LLMs, language learning models, chatbots, and AI assistants all will access our personal data for not only our own interactions, but to store our preferences for future use. We should use data minimization. This is reducing the amount of personal information we store within our AI systems. We also can rely on statutes in certain jurisdictions, like GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulations, statutes that protect individuals' data and how it is used. Courts and countries are grappling with how do we apply these types of regulations with the use of AI data. That will conclude our discussion of Section 6.2, Security Best Practices. In our next episode, we'll move on to Section 6.3 and discuss Password Best Practices. We thank you again for following along in the episodes and the course, and wish you best of luck in your studies. Enjoy the rest of your day.